Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman, and joining us in this segment, we have State Senator Steve McClure. Steve, good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm well, Grayson. Good to be with you.
Well, glad to have you here today, and long time no see for Senator Steve McClure, who was out at Balloon Fest over the weekend as well. But today we're starting our conversation with the first day of veto session being yesterday, and now we're moving into the second day here today. What's been going on in this veto session that you can fill us and our listeners in on?
Well, we were in veto yesterday, as you said, and then we're scheduled to be in today and tomorrow. But there's a rumor that it might be canceled tomorrow, so session is kind of, in these veto session periods, a little bit unpredictable.
Okay.
We're not really scheduled to do much tomorrow, if anything, and essentially we're going to have some committees today. And usually what happens anytime we're in session, the first day is kind of a day where people, it's kind of a day to check in. So yesterday we started session and we had a caucus, and then that was it. So we didn't do any voting. We didn't do any committee work. Now today's the day where we're supposed to be doing committee work, and then tomorrow's the day to usually kind of check in and then check out if we have session tomorrow. So the only major topic that seems to be getting a lot of traction right now is a potential transit package, which I don't suspect we're going to vote on anything this week, at least. We're scheduled to be in veto session for another week at the end of the month. But your listeners may remember that a transit package passed the Senate a few months ago, and that was going to cause all of us to have to pay $1.50 delivery tax on everything that comes into our house, whether it's from Amazon or if somebody brings a delivery from another company, $1.50 for every delivery. And that was going to go fund essentially the Chicago Transit Authority, which has been making very poor decisions with money and is in very dire shape. So that's what's kind of being talked about. The other thing that's being talked about as well is that apparently Governor Pritzker is against some of the Trump tax cuts that are being implemented at the federal level, and I think he wants to decouple those from the state. Basically, the state of Illinois has a law in place that says that when the federal government implements tax cuts, that the state sort of takes those into account at the state level as well. Well, now Governor Pritzker, the rumor is that he wants to separate some of those federal taxes from state taxation. So therefore, what that could mean for all of us is that we're going to end up paying more taxes because Governor Pritzker just doesn't like the tax cuts, of course, because they're associated with President Trump. And so, of course, he wants to separate everything from President Trump, whether it's good or bad, because he wants to run for president himself. So that's kind of the other thing that we're hearing about. I think it's unlikely that anything's going to happen with that during veto session. So I think we're going to look at the spring session for that, but that is yet to be seen. And the other thing that we've been dealing with lately is yesterday was Charlie Kirk's birthday, and I did file a resolution in the Senate to honor his life because he was from Illinois. And I filed a very bipartisan resolution, bipartisan in the sense that it's not political. It's just talking about the fact that Charlie Kirk was a person who advocated for free speech and discussion on college campuses. And, I think it's very fitting to honor him in his home state with the resolution. And so I filed that yesterday in the Senate, and I've gotten several co-sponsors already. And I know that in the House, they also dealt with a resolution to honor the fact that we should be debating each other without violence, and there shouldn't be political violence. And I thought that was a nice thing in the House as well.
Certainly, and it's hard to believe that that's been over a month now, I think, even or close to. Unbelievable. Time goes so quickly, and it's so easily forgotten. And so I think a resolution of this nature will help maintain what that message was that he was trying to pass along, the Trump tax cuts not maybe being administered or taken on by the state of Illinois, not, I think, what people would love to hear. And also that transit package. Quick question for you, Senator McClure. I had read that in Chicago, this was maybe 2007 or 8, they sold all rights to parking spaces and meters to the Saudi Arabian government. I don't know if that is actually true, or if that is playing a part in this lack of money that's coming into the CTA. But some of those things you mentioned that the CTA have just made bad decisions over and over and over. What might some of those be, and why are we expected now to bail them out downstate?
Well, and this was kind of discussed with my colleagues yesterday. One of the things that they have done is they've allowed for a lot of people to ride Chicago Transit Authority trains for free. So there's all these groups that now can ride it for free. And they have a major issue with crime on these trains. And so, the mayor of Chicago, who I think is universally disliked at this point, I think his approval rating is like 6% or something, like a record low approval rating. He has allowed crime, and so has the governor, quite frankly, to just be out of control in Chicago. And that makes a lot of people not want to ride or use public transportation. And so when you've got all these people riding for free, you've got a lot of people in Chicago not feeling safe enough to ride these trains. A lot of them are just old and crappy, for lack of a better word. And so the experience is not good for people. And, because Chicago for many, many years has not invested in their trains. And then you've got financing that is sort of been mishandled. I mean, you've got, here's a great example. The mayor of Chicago and all these Chicago legislators want everybody to pay this $1.50 delivery tax, and yet no one proposed for anybody that's riding the trains in Chicago to have to pay more money themselves. So it's like, okay, you want everybody else in the state to sacrifice, but you don't want the actual people that are utilizing the transportation to sacrifice at all.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that. It's just totally incompetent, and it's just like, as usual, the answer is just more taxes without any reforms in place, without any guarantee that essentially they're going to turn around their incompetence and start doing things in a way that would make sense. And there's already been, I think, $1.5 billion taken out of transportation funds from the state to pay for Chicago transit issues, and it's like, it's a never-ending pool of money that it's like they say that they want $20 million and you give them $20 million. Well, then, oh no, we actually need $50 million. And then you give them $50 million. No, it's actually 70. It's like there's no checks and balances here when you've got these people that are so bad with money and so poor with running anything. You just give more money, you throw more money at the problem, and it doesn't solve the problem. It just makes the problem worse. And it's a mess. What can I tell you?
Well, I'm glad you are the one telling us here in this case, but $1.50 tacked on to every additional delivery. And I am not somebody that orders a lot off of the internet, Amazon, Walmart, whatever the case might be, but $1.50 is just more taxes. And I think more people are starting to kind of really look at those taxes, especially right now with energy costs, as they have been the last couple of months, things of that nature. People are struggling, and people definitely don't like to hear the word taxes or the idea of any additional ones. Well, Steve, let's take ourselves a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the city of Chicago and some of the recent news surrounding it. State Senator Steve McClure joining us here on the WTIM Morning Show.
Your information station, WTIM.
Boys basketball and playoff games of both teams on AM, FM, and streamed on the WTIM mobile app. Sponsored by McClure Halberg Insurance, Prairie Farms Dairy, the senior citizens of Christian County, and Taylorville Community Eye Care.
The purple and gold are coming your way. The Taylorville Tornadoes are going to do it today.
At Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, you get the independent lifestyle you want without the huge price tag. It's half the cost of most independent living options. No stairs, no worries. All duplexes have an attached garage. They're accessible, safe, and private. Say goodbye to maintenance and hello to freedom, because now you can go do whatever you want to do. If you're 55 or better, it's time to simplify your life. Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth. Independent living done right. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, I'm Brenda Elder, Executive Director of the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation. If you're looking to grow your business, we're here to help. From supporting our local businesses to attracting new investment, everything we do is focused on building a brighter future for Shelby County. We sponsor job fairs to connect local talent with great employers and inspire entrepreneurs through the Shelby County CEO program. Click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Shelby County Economic Development, growing business, growing community.
The weather may be warm, but you know what's coming. Yes, winter and all the cold wind and snow. Don't spend another winter shoveling snow. Get on the waiting list now at Taylorville Estates Assisted Living at 705 South Houston. Reserve your slot so that when one is available, you don't have to fight old man winter. Stop by and visit with Administrator Tony Clark or give them a call for an appointment at 824-2222. Taylorville Estates Assisted Living, encouraging independence, enriching lives.
Double your impact with sight and sound. Reach customers through our 6 regional radio stations, plus capture their attention with our 36 by 72-inch digital billboard right on Route 29 in Taylorville. That's nearly 11,000 drivers seeing your message every single day while they're already listening to your radio ads. Ready to maximize your reach? Call your regional radio account manager today and put your business in front of eyes and ears across Central Illinois. Regional radio is where your message gets noticed.
Just Beds are the yawn exterminators, and they can give you a better night's sleep. Choose from Bemco, Chatham & Wells, Sealy, Simmons, and Tempur-Pedic. Find out the many models and styles available on their updated website by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
At Land of Lincoln Credit Union, you can bank on learning more. Find out how they can help you and your family with their products and services by clicking their banner ad on top of the police blotter page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM. WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, our morning show, and brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. And Landmark of Taylorville, our guest in this segment, we've got State Senator Steve McClure. And Steve, you mentioned to me in the break there a little bit more about Jim Lovell. We talked about just the importance that he has on Illinois history, and what you've done to kind of prop up a day for him, and that being passed, and the honor that was. But now that honor has been kind of reciprocated to you. What can you tell us about Jim Lovell and maybe some plans that you have moving forward?
Well, Captain Lovell is one of the great American heroes of all time. He was the commander of Apollo 13, said the famous quote, Houston, we've had a problem. They changed it a little bit in the movie. They made it say, Houston, we have a problem. But and then he was also on Apollo 8, which is the first trip ever to orbit the moon, and he was Times Man of the Year along with his crewmates when that happened. So, and he lived in Illinois, and so I honored him with that resolution last year, and it was an honor to present that to him and to his family. And so his funeral is actually tomorrow. It was very sad when he passed away, and I'm going to be attending that tomorrow. And I just want to say that what a great American and a great family, and a really great example for really everyone, and particularly young people. And now we're getting back into the space program, and we're talking about going back to the moon and stuff like that. He is someone that a lot of people look up to, and it's just an honor to be able to attend his services, and it was an honor to be invited to his services. And so I'm definitely a huge Jim Lovell fan, and I just think he was a great Illinois and great American.
Well, I'm sure that was a very flattering offer and a very humbling one too, but just something that came along with the fact that you worked hard to implement a gym level day, something that Illinois can hold on to for years moving forward. There were a couple other things, and Steve, we're running out of time here. We've got less than a minute, but you mentioned decoupling those Trump tax cuts with the state. Can you give us a brief explanation and kind of put it in your own words before we wrap up?
Sure. So as I talked about, usually the state sort of mirrors the federal taxation, but in those situations, you would still get, if the Pritzker administration passes a bill to decouple the Trump tax cuts, essentially certain tax cuts would still be allowed for at the federal level. So they wouldn't affect your federal taxes, but they would affect your state taxes. So you wouldn't get the same sort of benefit when you turn in your taxes for the state. And so it wouldn't be as big of a hit if the federal taxation were to be taken away, or the federal tax cuts were to be taken away, but it'd still be a hit for all of us if that's implemented. So my hope is that we can defeat that, and that Governor Pritzker gets a loss for that, because I don't think it's right to be raising taxes on people right now, especially with energy prices what they are and cost of everything skyrocketing.
My goodness, no doubt about it. Well, Senator McClure, thank you so much for your time today, as always.
Thanks, Grayson.
You've got it. State Senator Steve McClure of the 54th District joining us here on the WTIM Morning Show.